Hi there, welcome to part 4 video and female part 2. When I left you last, we had just finished talked about the hormones of the cycle, and we are now going to look at fertilization. Here's the video link if it's not working for you. When we look at fertilization, it is pay attention to how many millions of sperm there are and how there's one egg.
Fertilization is the epic story of a single sperm facing incredible. During sexual intercourse, about 300 million.
So notice, 300 million sperm enter the vagina, and then it goes to talk about how they get lost.
However, many survive because of the protective elements
stuck.
provided in the fluids surrounding them. Next, the sperm must pass through the cervix, an opening into the uterus.
And here is this belly button thing. This is the cervix. So when you're getting a pap test, what they do is they scrape a little tissue off here to make sure that there's no abnormal cells. So here's the cervix.
Usually, it remains tightly closed, but here the cervix is open for a few days while the woman ovulates. The sperm swim through the cervical mucus, which is thinned to a more watery consistency for easier passage. Once inside the cervix, the sperm continues swimming toward the uterus, though millions will die trying to make it through the mucus. Some sperm remain behind, caught in the folds of the cervix, but they may later continue the journey as a backup to the first group. Inside the uterus, muscular uterine contractions assist the sperm on their journey toward the egg. However, resident cells from the woman's immune system, mistaking the sperm for foreign invaders, destroy thousands more. Inside the fallopian tube, tiny...
Okay, so this is an example. Here's the egg coming down now. Now notice all these extra cells on the egg.
Tiny cilia push the egg toward the uterus. To continue, the sperm must surge against this motion to reach the egg. Some sperm get trapped in the cilia and die. During this part of the journey, chemicals in the reproductive tract cause the membranes covering the heads of the sperm to change. As a result, the sperm become hyperactive, swimming harder and faster toward their destination. At long last, the sperm reach the egg.
Okay, there's a beautiful example of the comparison of the size. So one egg once a month, 200 million sperm every 2 days. And notice how small this is. This goes into a little more detail to talk about how only one can unite at a time. But I want to look at what happens when, I'm going to fast forward a bit because I'm getting tired of doing this. And I'm sure you're tired of listening to me. So I'm going to fast forward a bit to what happens when the pronuclei fuse. So what we've got here, here's the outside part of the egg.
Hardens, trapping any sperm unlucky enough to be caught inside. Outside the egg, sperm are no longer able to attach to the zona pellucida. Meanwhile, inside the egg, the tightly packed male genetic...
Okay, here is the genetic material. So here are the centrioles. Here are the chromosomes, which are winding up to be tight.
Material spreads out. A new membrane forms around the genetic material, creating the male pronucleus. Inside...
So here is the male genetic material. Notice it's 23 chromosomes, or half the normal amount. And so the cell has undergone meiosis, which means it divided and divided, and it now has only half its chromosome. This is different than the female. The female, the last meiotic division does not occur until fertilization.
The genetic material reforms into 23 chromosomes. The female genetic...
Okay, so here you can see 2 sets of chromosomes, and they're pulling away in the last phase of meiosis 2. So they haven't divided into a total haploid cell yet.
Material, awakened by the fusion of the sperm with the egg, finishes dividing, resulting in the female pronucleus, which also contains 23 chromosomes. As the
Okay, so now you have that end part and you only have half the chromosomes. And then the female pronucleus and the male pronucleus fuse.
male and female pronuclei form, spiderweb-like threads called microtubules pull them toward each other. The two sets of chromosomes join together, completing the process of fertilization. At this moment, a unique genetic code arises, instantly determining gender, hair color, eye color, and hundreds of other characteristics. This new single cell, the zygote, is the beginning.
There you go, and that's when you have the fused, the embryo fused, and then you just undergo a lot of mitosis and specialization to get a human out of it. Very fascinated. If you want, you can listen to the whole thing, but I'm wanting to finish. So when does the last meiotic division, meiosis division occur in the female? So when you look at it, this image is not in your textbook, but it does a very good job to explain. When the female egg divides, it does not divide evenly. So here's the first one where you have mitosis. So you have your germ layer stay, and then this cell will then undergo meiosis. But it divides unevenly, and most of the cytoplasm goes towards the one. And the other, it's so small we just call it a polar body. So this is a polar body, it divides again. The polar bodies are useless, they just have genetic material and nothing else. But here you have the second, before the second division occurs, you have to have sperm penetration. So it's like the body saves energy until sperm penetration, and then after the sperm goes and penetrates the egg, then that last division will occur. And you end up with, instead of like the sperm where you have 4 viable, you have only one with all the information in it, and the other are polar bodies, which aren't useful. Good. Okay, last thing we're going to look at today is excitation, or the sexual female response. Same names, but the response is a little different because females can have multiple orgasms because we don't have to reset. So here's the female sexual response. Again, 4 phases: excitation, plateau, orgasm, and resolution. So in excitation, it still is related to blood flow to the genitalia. So with stimulation, or physical, or it could also be visual, even sometimes mental, there is a stimulation of the blood to the genitals, and that will result in the labia being increasing in blood and warmth. The clitoris will be engorged and swollen, breasts will swell, and the vaginal wall become purple due to increased blood flow in the area. You can also have your secretions coming from your vestibular glands in order to be ready for lubrication. Good. Then the plateau occurs when the outer third of the vagina swells and the clitoris is very sensitive. Orgasm occurs when the vagina contracts in rapid series of pulses, and the uterus also contracts. Again, by blood flow, you may have the skin become flushed. Then resolution, all the blood will decrease, blood flow will decrease, everything softens and returns to normal size. And that is the female version. Okay. There's some interesting stuff here on birth control if you want to read about birth control, but that is all we need to do for the female reproductive system. Next class, which will be Tuesday the 9th, I will review some of this, and then I will also look at heredity and just 4 simple terms from heredity. So we're almost done. Okay, so this is Thursday. You're watching the last video. Make sure you write your quiz on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. And that's it. Hopefully all is good with you. Take care.